Hi, it's Red-Headed Riding Hood here, Red for short. I'm gonna read you William Barclay's Daily Celebration, Volume 2. This is a really good one, and one of the reasons why I read William Barclay's devotions on here. It's on vulnerability. One of the strange features of human life is its vulnerability. Nor is that vulnerability a purely physical thing. Everyone knows how vulnerable the human frame is. How? As Pascal said so long ago, a drop of water or a draught of air can kill a man. That kind of vulnerability we all know and recognize. But there is also a vulnerability in the sphere of the mind and the heart and the spirit. A man is vulnerable to goodness. O. Henry, that master of the short story, has a tale about a lad who used to stay in a country town and who had once been a good boy. He came to the great city, fell in with bad company, and learned to walk the wrong way, and to walk it very successfully. He was an excellent pickpocket and thief. He had done well. He had never been caught. He was pleased with himself, for he was at the top of his thieving profession. One day he was going down one of the city streets. He had done well. He had just stolen a wallet and snatched a bag, and he was pleased with himself. All of a sudden he saw a girl of his own age. He looked again. He recognized her. She had sat beside him in the same class in the village school, in the old days when he had been young and good and innocent. He had only to look at her to see that she was still the same sweet, simple girl that she had always been. She didn't see him, but the very sight of her suddenly made him catch a glimpse of himself. He suddenly saw himself for the petty sneak thief that he was. He leaned his burning forehead against the cool iron of a lamp standard. God, he said, how I hate myself. In spite of what he was and of what he had done, he was still vulnerable to goodness. To find we still have that vulnerability is something for which we ought to thank God. A lot of that is gone these days. And while I'm very hopeful for things happening in my own life and with my personal life, I'm very sad for the direction this country has gone. There's like no conscience that like Christians, nationalists think that this man in the White House now is okay, and he's just released criminals. He's just released criminals, and I heard one of them got arrested again. It's a sad day in this country. And yeah, things are good in my personal life, and it definitely wasn't the time for me to move to a red state, to move to Pennsylvania. I'm happy to be in a blue state now and moving to a blue state. But yeah, a lot of things, I am not happy with what the Democratic Party has. I'm not happy with everything in the Democratic Party, but it's still, we would be in a whole lot better shape if Harris had won than what we're gonna have to deal with now, an oligarchy. And I just listened to Jessica Denson, and she was talking to James Tallarico, and yeah. but there are things we can do. And as I, get moved to San Diego, I'm going to be more involved, and I'm going to still be talking about it on this channel. If you don't like that, guess what? There's lots of other channels for you to watch. So, yeah. I had said to everybody that I changed churches in an effort, and I feel like I have gone from a church where there were a lot, it was a bigger church too, where there were a lot of MAGA at the Presbyterian church I was going to the sanctuary where they believe in universal salvation, where it was a much smaller church, and I think it was probably mixed, but there were still a lot of MAGA there, I discovered. And maybe it was at like half and half, though. It was a very small church. And now I went to an even different church, and I found a church that is accepting of all, and it's LGBTQ friendly and stuff. And I thought that was a way I can find more like-minded people who know the truth and don't support Trump. So, but I met someone, we had a discussion a couple Sundays ago, and I turned around to discuss the group in it, and it was like, have you ever lost sight of Christ? Because the sermon was about where Jesus's family thinks it's where he's 12 years old and he's teaching in the temple, and his family heads back home, and they think he's with the group, but he's not. And so they go back to find him. And so the question was, have you ever lost sight of Jesus? And I said that, when I was away from God, and I part of my disillusionment with the church was that Trump gaining popularity with the Christian right. That was part of it. And so that came up in the person that I was talking to. I hadn't met them before, so they weren't like a person that's there every Sunday, and she was there with her husband. But she said, I didn't like either one of them. And again, I'm horrified when people say this, and I guess she voted for a third party. And I was in church, so I didn't say anything. But it really, really saddens me. I found out that my daughter voted for the Green Party. I'm like, because she didn't like it. She said she didn't like it, and I thought, she said that Harris would be better than Trump, and that's an understatement to me. And if you say, because I had this person on my channel who ended up, really slandering me in my live in front of everybody, saying I said a nasty word in my devotional. And that was a person that was trying to argue, I don't like either one of them. I don't, and it's such, I'm sorry, but it's an ignorant statement. I'm sorry, an ignorant statement. If you are saying you don't like Harris or Trump to be president, I'm sorry, you are ill-informed. You've got your head in the sand. You are deceived. I'm sorry, you're deceived. And I feel badly now that I didn't have the courage, because they're in that church where there's so many, because we've had like discussions at book club and everything, that feel as I do, that Howard Stern pointed at the wall when he was talking to Colin Harris, and he was like, I'd vote for that wall over Trump. And if you say you don't like either one of them. That's like ridiculous. That's like saying between Jimmy Carter even and Trump, like, I don't like either one of them. It just shows that you're not informed, you're ignorant, you've got your head in the sand, you've been gaslighted, you've been deceived. So anyways, I wanted to say that today. I will put the link below to Jessica Denson's channel too, the thing I just watched. But yeah, that kind of goes with today's topic on vulnerability, because people they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to be honest. They don't want to admit that we as a country are on a very dangerous path. Very dangerous path. You know, people don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to admit it. They want to put their head in the sand. And I understand that, because I had my head in the sand. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Now, you know, Biden's in. No, I don't like Trump, and I'm a Democrat now, but I wasn't telling anybody, you know, and I'm like, I'm not a Republican anymore, but I wasn't telling anybody. That's where I was. And in 2016, I didn't even vote, which was bad and wrong, and I realized that. 2020, I, you know, started voting Democratic. But I still wasn't staying informed, wasn't, you know, January 6th happened. I was at my brother's MAGA house. My sister-in-law had just passed away, and I thought it was horrible. I wasn't talking about it because, you know, I had people in my family that are MAGA. I have people in my family that aren't also, but all sorts of people in my family. I have toxic liberals in my family and toxic MAGA in my family. I have both. We have it all. But yeah, that's all for today. Please pray for our country. We definitely need it. And don't say that no one cares for you, because I do, and God does too. Don't forget to pray for Red, because Red is praying for you. Bye.